Welcome to On This Day, where we look back at the moments that made history, one day at a time. From major world events to the weird and unexpected, every date has a story. So, what happened on 3rd of July? Let's find out. The 3rd of July is a day that often flies just under the radar, tucked between other big historical headlines. But don't let that fool you. This date has seen everything from decisive battles and world-changing inventions to space missions, pop culture firsts, and some truly surprising political turns. It's one of those days where you never quite know what's coming next, and that's what makes it so fun to explore. Let's kick things off in 1863, with the Battle of Gettysburg reaching its third and final day. It ended with the infamous Pickett's Charge, a bold but disastrous Confederate assault that marked the turning point of the American Civil War. From that moment forward, the tide began to shift toward Union victory, changing the course of U.S. history. Now, fast forward to 1886, when the New York Tribune became the first newspaper to use a linotype machine. Before that, setting type for printing was done by hand, letter by letter. The linotype revolutionized publishing, making it faster and way more efficient. Basically, it helped newspapers go from slow news to breaking news. In 1938, the world got a new speed queen when Don Budge won the first ever tennis Grand Slam. Now that's all 4 major tournaments in a single calendar year. He wrapped it up at Wimbledon, where he also won the doubles and mixed doubles. 3 trophies in 1 tournament? Now that's how you make headlines. On July 3rd, 1962, Algeria officially gained independence from France after more than 130 years of colonial rule. The announcement followed a brutal war for freedom, and millions took to the streets in celebration. It was one of the largest anti-colonial movements of the 20th century, and a turning point in North African history. In 1988, the USS Vincennes shot down Iran Air Flight 655 over the Persian Gulf, killing all 290 people on board. The U.S. Navy mistook the commercial airliner for a hostile aircraft. It was a tragic mistake that escalated tensions between the U.S. and Iran, and remains a haunting chapter in military and diplomatic history. Also on this day, back in 1969, Brian Jones, founding member of the Rolling Stones, was found dead at the bottom of his swimming pool. He was just 27 years old, and his death became one of the earliest entries into what would later be called the 27 Club, a tragic pattern of young music legends gone too soon. July 3rd, 1971 brought something much brighter. The launch of Jim Morrison's legend into the realm of myth. The lead singer of The Doors was found dead in Paris, also at the age of 27. No autopsy was performed, and to this day, the details remain fuzzy. But his music and poetry live on in a big way. In 2004, the world was introduced to Spider-Man 2, and it didn't disappoint. With Tobey Maguire back in the suit and Alfred Molina's unforgettable Doc Ock, the movie swung its way into superhero history. Critics and fans alike still rank it as one of the best superhero sequels ever made. Love discovering what happened on this day in history? Hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Let's head to space for a moment. On July 3rd, 2005, NASA crashed a probe into a comet on purpose. The Deep Impact mission was designed to study the interior of Comet Tempel 1, by smashing into it and analyzing the debris. Not exactly subtle, but definitely effective science. Back in 1996, Boris Yeltsin was re-elected president of Russia in a runoff vote. It was a critical moment for post-Soviet Russia, coming at a time when the country was still figuring out what democracy looked like after decades under communist rule. The victory set the tone for Russian politics for years to come. Jumping to 1952, Puerto Rican nationalists carried out an attack on Blair House in Washington, D.C., attempting to assassinate President Harry Truman. Although Truman wasn't harmed, one of the attackers and a White House police officer were killed in the confrontation. A dramatic and little-known chapter of U.S. presidential history. In 1981, the iconic comedy Stripes was released, starring Bill Murray and Harold Ramis. It wasn't just a box office hit. It became a staple of early 80s comedy. With its blend of military mischief and underdog charm, Stripes paved the way for a new wave of irreverent humor on the big screen. Let's also not forget July 3, 2003, when famed businessman and investor Warren Buffett made his biggest philanthropic move yet, donating $31 billion to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It was one of the largest charitable gifts in history and kicked off a new era of mega philanthropy. And in 2013, Egypt's military ousted President Mohamed Morsi following days of mass protests. Morsi, Egypt's first democratically elected president, had been in office for just over a year. The move led to another wave of unrest and political shifts that are still playing out today. That's what happened on 3rd of July throughout history. Made it this far? Drop your favorite historical fact in the comments. Learned something new? Hit subscribe and come back tomorrow. You never know what the past has in store.